Joining us from Abuja to look at this, the security situation in the country, specifically that of the military clash with the Shiite movement, is Colonel Sani Usman. He's the Army spokesman. Good morning and thanks for joining us today. Very quickly, tell us exactly what is happening, an update. We understand that so many people are still talking about the whereabouts of the Shiite leader. Just give us an update on that quickly.
Good morning, how are you? It is a pleasure for me to be on this very important program. What I want you to understand, the leader of the Islamic Movement of Nigeria, along with his wife, contrary to rumors and speculation going on, is alive.
That is very important because I'm quite sure so many of the members of the Shiite group would want to hear from the Nigerian military. But again, some who don't understand what transpired between the military and the Shiite group would want to hear from the military what exactly happened on the day. Take us through what went down after the procession or during the procession of the Shiite movement and how they were accosted by the soldiers.
One thing I want you to understand, there wasn't any procession. Let's get that clear. And what happened on that Saturday, if you recall, quite a number of activities were ongoing in the country. Namely, then we just concluded the Chief of Army Staff annual conference in Dutse, Jigawa State. And coincidentally, the Emir of Dutse was celebrating his 20th year anniversary on the throne. So it behoves on the Chief of Army Staff to also wait to be part of the program. And that same day, we were having the passing out parade of the 73 regular recruits intake in Zaria, at Depot Nigerian Army Zaria. And of course, there was the graduation ceremony of Kaduna State University, all at the same day. And part of the tradition was that whenever a very important dignitary happens to be in Zaria, which is the headquarters of Zakzaky Emirate, it is imperative for such guests to pay courtesy call on the emir. So we were on our we were on our way from Dutse to Zaria, first and foremost, to pay courtesy call on the emir of Zakzaky, who had to cut short some of his engagements in Kaduna because of the graduation convocation ceremony to be with us. Somewhere around 2:30 in the afternoon, and along Sokoto Road, just shortly by the railway clinic, if you are familiar with Zaria, a group of youth started springing up all over the place, you know, coming from PZ end and very close to Husseiniya Bakia, which is the spiritual headquarters of the Islamic Movement of Nigeria. And they started encircling the convoy of the Chief of Army Staff. We came down, we pleaded with them, and we made them to see reason. But before you could say Jack Robinson, people have started pelting stone, and there were loud bangs here and there. And of course, people are the people who were responsible for the safety and security of the Chief of Army Staff had to clear the way for the Chief of Army Staff. Remember, there were bonfires, stones, and burning tires all over the place, and no amount of pleading that could pursue them to do otherwise. And they insisted that they have done it to several other people, and the Chief of Army Staff, he is nobody, and he cannot pass through that way. And remember, again, there were a series of arguments. First and foremost, there were allegations that 2 days ago, some security agencies went to a particular village and murdered their people, which is not true. It turns out to be that there was an altercation between the Islamic movement and some other Islamic sect on the location or ownership of a mosque. Then, of course, they changed the argument that they were having a funeral procession. For goodness sake, there wasn't any procession. And of course, when the leader was giving an interview with BBC Hausa Service, he said they were hoisting a flag. So which flag are you going to hoist by 2:30 in the afternoon? And in any case, this is Federal Republic of Nigeria. There is no flag that is more sacred than the national flag. So all these things were premeditated, meditated, they were planned, because before you know it, they started encircling. Because in any case, again, the reception party that went to Espa Edogarawa to receive the Chief of Army Staff from Depot Nigerian Army barely 20 or 15 minutes ago passed the same place. There wasn't anything. And the arrival of the Chief of Army Staff was widely publicized. And the Depot Nigerian Army had been in Zaria since 1920s. So virtually anybody who is in Zaria is quite aware and familiar with the programs of Depot Nigerian Army. It was widely publicized. So they are quite aware. It was a convoy of the Chief of Army Staff. They decided to ambush him for reasons best known to them. So for anybody to think otherwise or to say otherwise, I think it begs for more questions on that side.
Colonel Usman, very quickly, when you talk about ambush, were they armed?
Certainly they were armed.
What kind of arms were they carrying?
At the least was machete and catapult.
Just curious though, I mean, the GOC 1 division of the Nigerian Army briefed yesterday saying that the Sheikh and his wife is in their protective custody. And I think during that joint press briefing they had, I think also with the police also said that the Shiite sect did not respect anybody. Has there been any issue with the Shiite movement before now in Nigeria?
Anybody who is living in this country definitely knows that they have always constituted a nuisance and has been inconveniencing people, especially motorists. I will not like to comment on that. I would rather ask you to find out from particularly those living in Zaria City or those who traverse the road between Zaria, Kaduna, Zaria, Kano. They will tell you the agony. But I can tell you of a particular incident. During one of their processions, there was a woman whose child was sick. Her husband was far away in Abuja. She wanted to take that woman's child to the hospital, but she was stuck in one place for over 5 hours. And I can tell you, sometimes last year, a soldier was macheted on the head. And in fact, we have living witnesses who saw the molestation. And even that incident too, the Chief of Army Staff car was equally stoned and scratched.
Would you say that, you know, that the army has used excessive force in this case? Because my colleague asked you if they were armed. You said they had machetes and they had catapults. But the army had guns.
I want you to get this clear. I said the least armed.
The least?
The least.
What was the greatest?
Well, I can tell you there were petrol bombs. And there were others hiding behind the trees. They were flanking both by the polo ground and, of course, the quarters, the railway quarters there. They were just springing up.
You know, the fear here in Nigeria is the fear here by others. I'm sure that since the Nigerian Army also has a relationship between with the civil population and the Nigerian Army, they should also be getting feedback. It's because of what had